This is the Illimitable Experience Podcast. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Illimitable Experience Podcast. If you're watching this video, like this video, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do subscribe to the channel. We're posting great content regularly. With that, today we have as our guest Priya Dcosta. Hi Priya, how are you?
I'm doing great, Manan. Thanks for having me here.
I'm glad to know that you're doing very well. So, Priya, before we start, I would like to point out that when I saw your profile for the first time on LinkedIn, I was really surprised. And I think this is the biggest surprise that I've seen in a lot. I mean, I've witnessed, I've experienced in such a long time that someone who is a chartered accountant is pursuing a computer science engineering master's from University of Pennsylvania. I mean, the usual course what CAs do is, I mean, right now the trend is that they pursue CFA, uh, or CS, and the regular combination, the people that usually I was really surprised that somebody is pursuing computer science engineering. It reminded me of those CS stereotypes, right? When our parents used to how our parents used to encourage us to teach us that you have to do law degree, you have to do accountancy degree, you have to do engineering degree, all the degrees combined. So it was surprising as well, and it was hilarious at the same time that okay, I finally found someone who has like an engineer who has done engineering and accountancy course. So yeah, that was it. So Priya,
Yeah,
tell me that where does this decision come from to pursue a master's in computer science engineering, but not with a bachelor's in engineering background, but with a chartered accountancy background?
sure. So, when I was in the 10th standard, like most Indian kids, I had this choice to make: go for commerce, go for arts, or go for science. And at that point in time, I really liked the idea of commerce because it was business, it was finance, which I believed is, and I still believe, is the life and blood of every business. You need
Hmm.
finance everywhere. And that's why I chose to do commerce. CA happened because I thought that CA is, first of all, a course which gives you an entry into the working world at a very early age. So I started doing my articleship. That's the 3 year long internship that all CAs have to compulsorily do. And I was just 18 years old. And I was facing clients at the age of 18, talking to like management level people at that very young age, which no other course could have given me. And the third reason I chose to do CA was it's a degree which very few people get. Like I think there are only around 3 lakh chartered accountants in India. So it's very coveted that way. And yeah, I did my CA. I completed my CA in 2021, the November 2020 attempt. And then I started working for one of the major startups in India. And while working there, I realized that technology is a really crucial skill. Uh, if I was very good in finance, but I didn't have like the sort of tech skills I would like to have, like coding to the extent I would like, and I was very dependent on like other people for that. And that's when I realized that if I combine both my finance and business skills with tech, I will have a really good skill set, which will put me at a very advantageous position. And
Hmm.
then I always liked tech before that too. Even when I was in articleship, I would like be trying out different softwares for, say, computing the income tax payable for a particular client. And I would always think, will I be able to build something like that someday? So I thought, let's formalize this education, because I
Hmm.
realized that self study was not working for me, because I had become very indisciplined after CA final, which is the case with most people when it comes to academics. So I thought, let's pursue a master's degree in computer science. I did a lot of research, and then I found this particular program at the University of Pennsylvania, which is a master's in computer science specifically for people without an engineering undergraduate degree. So in my
Hmm.
class, you have a doctor, you have people from investment banking, you have people who have studied more things on the art side, like language, psychology, etc. Like name it, and you have that person. And I was fortunate enough to get into this program with a very low acceptance rate, and here I am, uh, pursuing my master's in computer science.
Right. So Priya, you told me that you found a gap between the technology and your work that you were, doing at the startup. So wasn't maybe an Excel formula or just using Excel or any other form of, um, you know, how should I say, any other, I don't know, I'm not getting the right word. Um,
Yeah, any other technology
yeah,
probably.
technological app or website that are available, via that accessible to anyone. Wasn't though weren't those facilities enough for you to bridge the gap between your knowledge and the tech? Was it so severe?
I would say it would be a short-term solution if I did something like that. But
Mm,
in the long term, I realized that, repetitive work could easily be replaced by a machine. So
mm,
I already have the domain knowledge, right, of that particular skill set that I'm doing, that particular finance task that I'm doing. If I can acquire the tech knowledge too, I will be able to probably beat that machine, or probably make a machine that can make life simpler for people implementing it. So
mm,
I thought, let's not just do a short term solution. Let's actually get to the depth of things and learn computer science the way it has to be learned.
mm. Okay. And when you made this decision that you want to pursue a master's in computer science engineering, how did you start your research? Were you like somewhat aware that there is a course that is offered to, that is offered to non-engineering students, or was it just out of luck that you were just Googling and you just found it?
Okay. So I knew when I started my research that um, in in the west, like when I say west, it's Canada or US specifically. uh, you can easily switch between fields. When I say easily,
Mm,
I mean not just one day you do one field and the other day you do other. No, but the barriers are like lesser. For example, even when you're pursuing a bachelor's degree in the US, when you go into your first year, you can be a completely undeclared major. That you don't know what you want to study. You're just taking different classes, say classes in economics, classes in computer science, classes in English, and then you'll decide finally by the time you reach your final year of college what you actually want to major in. So I knew this earlier, and I definitely knew for a fact that somewhere there could be some course or some arrangement. By arrangement, what I mean is maybe not a straight master's course which would allow me to pursue computer science, but some other way through which I could gain the skills I wanted. And I knew because I have had people who have come to the US earlier, and I know such people, so I had that fair knowledge. I then began doing a lot of research on Google, and the first place where we mostly go for research of such things which are not out there in the open is Quora. And on Quora, I came across Quora and now Reddit also. On
mm,
Quora, I came across an entire post about this program where many alumni of the program had written about their experiences, and the reviews were really good. I then went to tracking down those people on LinkedIn. I'm a very big fan of
LinkedIn half
LinkedIn
friendly,
as a
yes.
social network. And I started connecting and cold messaging these people on LinkedIn about how their experience in the program has been, what was their background, what challenges did they face, how did they apply, and such stuff. And I'm not exaggerating here. I have messaged over 100 people for this.
Wow.
Um, After this, I like a idea about this program, and then I happened to come across a YouTube channel of one of the alumni of this program, where she has shared a lot of valuable content about her entire journey, her mistakes, how she applied, and such stuff. So by
Mm,
then I knew that this program was for me, uh, and I thought of applying. In This was somewhere in mid 2021. I also wanted to apply to other universities, because when you usually apply to universities, you don't apply to just one university, you apply to some other universities too, so that, if one rejects you, you can get into the other. And I made a big list of universities like that, by doing my own research, of course, and by talking to the people, the alumni of my program, asking them where else they had applied. But then I was lucky that I got into Penn before I was admitted into any other university, or rather before I even submitted applications for other universities. So when I got into Penn, it was my first choice, and then I was really about it and didn't apply anywhere else.
Wow. Your this entire story, right? Right from the day you started researching about such a course, which is like completely offbeat, it is unusual, to the day you're getting into it, just sums up how much dedication is required, and the thing and the stuff that even if somebody is ready to choose an unconventional path, the path is available. It's just not available in public, but it is
Yeah,
available, right?
very true.
You have to dig
Very
very deep to get that. And the fact that you have cold mailed hundreds of alumni of so when you cold mailed them, were all of them from the same course, or what was it like?
Okay, so when I cold mailed people, they were all from my program. My program is not a new program; it's been around for since 2002. So it's 2 decades old, and there's a lot of people, like nearly 80 students passing out every year. So that gives a good pool of people whom I cold mail. They were all from this program specifically, and then LinkedIn kind of recommends to you when you
Yeah, correct.
keep on searching for people with, like, I would search for MCIT, University of Pennsylvania, and I would get a whole list of them, and then their connections would be recommended, so then it became very easy.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, I mean, I relate to this completely. Reason being that I had to use LinkedIn for guests, and specifically guests who are more academically inclined, like the both of us. So, and I think LinkedIn is such a is very quick to pick on the algorithm that when you add that X person, it will recommend the same people from the same background very quickly. And I think like it's really helpful. People who curse that social media isn't useful aren't using it in the wrong way. I mean, aren't
Absolutely.
using it in the right way, I feel.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn now is like a lot of preaching by many people, but the fact remains that it was meant to be a networking tool, and it is still very relevant as a networking tool if you like cut out all the noise and the nonsense.
Mm,
That line you have to draw for yourself.
correct. So Priya, after you got into this in this course, um, obviously you did not have any engineering background. You were into finance and startups related work. So how did you prepare yourself, before going on, before the start of the course, or even before the application of the course?
Okay. So, I think I still believe I did not prepare myself well enough, because I was working, and frankly speaking, I didn't manage my time well. But the good thing about the course is that the first year of the course is all your introductory level courses. So essentially, what a computer science engineer would take in their 4 years of bachelor's, those courses are combined into 1 year of master's for us. So that when we enter the second year of the program, we are at the level of engineer who has bachelor's degree. So per se, you don't need any preparation, but it's always good to prepare so that life is easier for you. I prepared, I would say, by first of all understanding very basic terms about tech, which I kind of knew. Like, I knew what are the different programming languages like Java, Python, C, C++. I knew basic terms of programming languages, like what is an integer, what is a character, what is a loop, etc. These are the ABCDs of programming, if I had to give an analogy. So I familiarized myself with that by taking like basic courses on Coursera, or just watching YouTube videos.
Mm,
um, and I also kind of prepare myself to get back into academics, because I think this is a very common thing, that once you are done with studies and you start working, reverting back usually is difficult because you're used to doing a uh, set of tasks, doing it from maybe 9 to 5, 9 to 7, whatever, and after that your time is yours and you get
Mm,
paid for it. When you come back to academics, you have to work a lot more because like assignments are challenging, there are exams coming up and such stuff. You usually have to work alone, because you can't take exams with other people, right? You don't have that team that you had in a corporate environment, and then you don't get paid for it, which is sometimes a big sh- most people like are used to getting that
feel sorry
steady flow
about
of
it.
income. Yeah, sometimes a bit, yeah,
Mm,
because you leaving income is not easy. Uh, Very honest opinion. So I mentally prepared myself that I have to get back into the kind of person I was during CA, and
mm,
that mental preparation I think helped me become a lot more focused.
mm. Oh, quick question. When you say that you started doing your, I mean, studying for this computer science course by YouTube, uh, how has your experience been learning from YouTube? Because now that, I think it's only during the lockdown and post lockdown that people have realized that YouTube has educational value as well. I think before that people saw it more as a, I don't know, different ways, whatever interest people have. But how do you see YouTube as an educational platform?
Okay. So I think YouTube has great resources, but it's
Mm.
not organized. Like you have to search for those great resources, and for
Okay.
that you should know how to search. So how
Mm.
I would go about it was I would first like go to a particular university, and these universities have their course contents listed on their website. For example, if there's a course Introduction to Java, they'll
Mm.
have each and every lecture's content listed out very beautifully on their website.
Mm.
So I would look at this from like good universities, maybe my own university or other well-known university tech like Stanford or MIT, and I would then see, okay, these contents, where can I find them on YouTube in a very structured manner, like in the form of a playlist or uh, in form of short consumable videos. And then
Mm.
you get like a rough idea of how good the channel is through the views or probably the comments, etc., in there. Sometimes some things may not match with you. For example, there's a very popular YouTube channel where the person has got a lot of views. The person teaches also really well, but for me their pace was very slow.
Okay.
So for me that was not a good resource. But there was
Mm-hmm.
some other resources where they taught the content I needed. They taught it at a good pace, and they gave a lot of examples and practical exercises, which is what I was looking for. So after doing some amount of research that way, I created like this library that these are the videos I have to watch, these are the things I have to do, and I actually was able to learn a lot about it. So one thing you have to remember is that all of this requires a lot of consistency. You can't
Mm.
watch a video one day and then watch one after 5 days. You're going to forget everything. So like preparing a schedule that every morning I'm going to watch this particular topic, like I was in class, from say 9 to 10 a.m., that helped me gain a lot. But I think I could have still done a lot better if I had like stuck more to my schedule. But if
Mm-hmm.
that answers your question about can you learn up from YouTube a lot? Yes, 100%. If you do your research and you get your resources together, you can definitely learn any skill required today from YouTube.
Wow. Now, again, a following question would be, how much time have you completed in this course right now at this moment?
Okay. So I'm currently in my second semester, which started just last week.
Last week.
My
Okay.
course is 4 semesters long, so it's
Hmm.
2 years long from 2022 to 2024. So I've
Okay.
completed one
One
semester.
semester. And if you could, put some light, I know it's too early to put light on this, but in this first semester that you have experienced, your YouTube learnings to your formal learning that you received in education, was there thing that, let's say if somebody wants to study computer science, okay, and but he or she does not have the finances to go to a university and study, but they are curious to know, they want to do something in tech. So does this like kind of have an equivalence to the course that you are studying, provided the person does not want to go to the university?
Okay, yeah, for sure. Like there, universities such as Harvard and MIT, they put out course content for free. For example, there is a particular course called as CS50, which is an introduction to computer science course by Harvard, and it's available completely for free on a platform called as edX. I believe MIT also has certain courses like that, and they
Mm.
cover a lot of content, a lot of good content, and a lot of depth. Similarly, you have such courses on YouTube too. For example, there's a channel called as Coding with Mosh, where he teaches you Java, Python, I think end to end. There's a channel called as Simply Learn, where they teach you a lot about machine learning. So if a person wants to learn, actually wants to learn, they can definitely do it with a lot of resources available on YouTube. And probably it would be better if they had like a mentor from the tech field who could maybe, sort of guide them that, okay, this is where you're going wrong, or this is the area you need to polish upon, because that helps
Mm-hmm.
to, I think, speeden up the learning process.
Okay. Wow. That's so great to hear, right? That people who want to study it have the resources available on the YouTube and they can study it. It's fantastic. And when you are making this application, obviously it's a very unusual course, like I said. Who was your mentor during the process of application, or during the process of your ups and downs, and who motivated you to be able to pursue this course, which obviously I'm sure that nobody that you know as well has done the same course, being a chartered accountant, let alone me being a lawyer. Yeah, so who was your mentor in this process, and who is your mentor even while studying computer science?
Yeah. So I don't have one specific mentor for this whole thing. Like I said, I spoke to a lot of alumni and they gave me different inputs, which
Mm,
I maintained a good I literally maintained a notebook about it. That this person, this is their background, this is when they passed, this is what they said. So their inputs were the mentorship for me.
mm.
And the applications process, I would say I did it all by myself. Uh,
Okay.
like writing my letters of recommendation, all the things which we'll talk about later. I did it
Mm.
completely by myself. Just got my mom to proofread it, like for grammatical errors and all of that. Um, and I would say the people who are alumni and the YouTube channel of an alumni where she has posted a lot of valuable content, those were the mentoring forces for me. And I think it was good because I had very straight opinions of people, what they felt. Sometimes when you have like mentorship is good. I'm nowhere saying that mentorship is bad. In fact, I
Mm.
advocate mentorship a lot. But sometimes you have someone very close to you, like a friend, they may influence you too much about a particular thing. And that did not happen to me. Um, I think that was a really good thing. So yeah, that's how I went about it.
Wow. Uh, okay, and
And
that's
yeah,
that's
my
a
mentor
great
now, you
uh,
also about my mentor now
yeah, mentor
in
now
university.
at
Yes.
university. Yeah.
Yeah. So in university, the good thing is in our program, we have one first year student assigned to one second year student. And that second year student is the mentor for the first year student to help them with like queries, general advice, etc. So I have a mentor assigned to me that way, who is a very nice person, and that person too helps me a lot. And then of course this is a university which is known for a lot of collaboration. So if you ever want any kind of advice of anybody, be it a professor, be it a student who is in your program or maybe from some other program, you can just like shoot them an email, ask them for a quick chat, and people are always ready to help you out. So if you just ask, you'll get a lot of help.
Correct. That's true. That has been the same experience too for me as well. Now, Priya, uh, this course that you're pursuing right now, is which other universities offer this courses?
Okay. So, the program that I am pursuing right now, a 2 years master's, where you can go in having absolutely no background of computer science, is only offered at the University of Pennsylvania, in my
Oh,
understanding.
okay.
But there are a couple of other universities which offer similar courses. When I say similar, what they do is they require you to do like a bridge program, and then you would go into the normal masters in computer science program with actual engineers. So I know that Northeastern University and New York University,
Mm,
NYU, they both offer this kind of a program where they require you to do like first a semester of a boot camp like thing, and then go into the normal master's program. There are also universities which offer things that is not mainstream computer science. Like when I say mainstream computer science, you learn coding, you learn about hardware parts too, like memory, how the
mm,
memory works, how zeros and ones are translated, how code is translated into zeros and ones on a computer. There are similar fields like I would say data science, business analytics, which is more of application of coding based. So those programs are offered by many more universities. For example, you have Carnegie Mellon University, you have the University of Texas at Austin, you have the University of Colorado at Boulder, which offer masters in data science programs and masters in business analytics programs. Uh, and their prerequisites are somewhat less stringent, so they don't require you to have an engineering degree. They require
mm,
you to have like more of a degree with high focus on quants, like maybe maths, maybe statistics, those kind of
mm.
things. But
Okay.
even if you don't have that, but you have like a good understanding of math, say through a high GRE score, or
Mm.
you have taken like Coursera courses on math, etc., still you can get into those programs. So those programs are offered by a lot more universities, even other than the ones I
Even other.
mentioned.
Right. And what are the requirements or eligibility to apply for this course? And or
Okay.
such similar courses, like apart
Yeah.
from non-engineering background, I'm sure they must be looking into other things as well.
Okay, so I'll use this opportunity to even speak about the admission process a bit.
Correct.
Um, I would say they look first of all for a bachelor's degree, which
Mm,
is the baseline thing for any master's courses. A
mm,
common misconception is that US still requires 4 years bachelor's degrees. That is not true. Most
mm,
universities look at how many credits you have now rather than whether you have a 4 year long bachelor's degree. And they look mostly for 120 or more credits. If you have pursued a degree like BCom from University of Mumbai, which I did, and which you also did, it is 120 credits already. So you don't have to worry about it being 4 years long. Still,
mm,
some universities, they'll list this on their website that we are okay with 120 credits. Some you may not find that information directly, but you can just mail the admissions coordinator or the admissions team there. There'll always be an email ID, and ask them that this is my case. Will you consider my application? I would say 90% universities do. Very few universities, like for example, University of Southern California, they want a strict 4 year bachelor's degree. And if you have a 3 year bachelor's degree, they want you to pursue, say, something like an MCOM before you apply.
okay.
So
Mm,
that is one prerequisite. Most universities after that require you to take the GRE exam or the TOEFL exam. GRE is graduate record examination, and TOEFL is test of English as a foreign language, because we come from India, which is a country that whose native language is not English. They require you to take this so that you can cope with the classes. Many universities have made these tests optional after COVID, because testing centers and stuff were closed, but they still like accept scores. So when there's something optional like this, okay, but they say it's optional, it's better to take that test and submit it, because it's like one more place on your application where you can showcase that you are a good student. Generally, good universities, I would say, would look for GRE scores. GRE is on a scale of 340. So you have 170 quant, that's like math, and 170 verbal. They would generally look for something about 320, but again, that's not a hard and fast rule. If you have a good resume, like
Mm.
um, you have published some research papers somewhere, you have very good work experience, and your GRE is a little low, maybe say due to the English part of it, they may
Mm.
still accept you because after all, they are looking for you to do computer science and not English. Um, yeah, these are the two main prerequisites, I would say. Standardized tests, that's GRE and TOEFL,
Your
bachelor's
bachelor's
degree.
degree.
Yeah. And then you have like other parts of the application, which is your statement of purpose, where you sometimes some universities may give you questions like, why do you want to pursue this course? Or
Mm.
explain a situation where you think skills from this course would be applicable. Some would have a very generic statement of purpose where they'll say, write a statement of purpose to convey to the committee, admissions committee, why you should be admitted. So there is a place for you to actually tell your life story, like from what inspired you, why did it inspire you, um, and how will you use that degree um,
After
after
you
you
have
graduate.
completed it.
Yes. So that's one thing. And then you have letters of recommendation. So letters of recommendation can range anywhere from between 2 to 5.
Mm.
Usually, if they say two and they have a third optional letter, it's good to submit three, because that it's just a place where you can speak more or get someone
Mm.
else to speak more about your application.
Mm.
Yeah, so generally this is the pattern for most US based universities.
Universities. And does being a chartered accountant had weightage in your application, or did they look at only at your bachelor's degree and GRE score and the aforementioned requirements that you told me before?
So they don't release actually how they evaluate a particular candidate. And CA, I would say, is I'm a CA in India. It's not very widely known here. So if I have to tell someone that I'm a CA, I'll tell them like, okay, I'm a licensed CPA back in India. I worked for like 3 years alongside college, and like tell them how big a thing it is. So
Okay.
it's not specifically weighted, but what I did was in my statement of purpose. Those statement of purpose is where you can speak about yourself. There I spoke a lot about what CA is, how its pass percentage is very limited, how it's a lot of time management and such stuff. And I showed that I have a lot of grit and determination in me because of the CA course. So
Mm.
probably that might have been a brownie point for me to get in.
Oh, great. So now we are done with the process as well. You get your letter of acceptance. You fly to America, and the first day that you enter your university, how do you feel about being in the class, which is when you're completely surrounded with non-engineering students, but at the same time, all of you have the same motto of learning computer science?
So that is a very exciting feeling, honestly, because it's not just non-engineering students, it's students from so many different backgrounds, so many different cultures. There are 13 nationalities in my class. And
Wow.
yeah, and I think more than 80 nationalities in the university, or even more than that, probably. So you meet people from so many different backgrounds, uh, and they all want to learn together. So I think it's a really good it gets you scared a little bit, I think, at first, that okay, where am I come suddenly? I was just surrounded by chartered accountants all my life,
Correct.
um, or all of my adult life rather, and I'm suddenly in this totally new place with totally new people. But I think at the end of the day, everyone is working towards that common goal, right? Getting of learning computer science. So no matter what your background is, if that goal is same, people tend to come together and become friends very easily. So
Hmm.
that has gradually happened to me, and I get to learn about their backgrounds. Like I have a friend who has done linguistics, which is like language study, and he tells me certain very interesting things. I have a friend who was a doctor, a medical doctor, and he's doing computer science. So he tells me super interesting things. So that way, I think it helps to broaden my own thought process as well, other than
Mm.
academics.
Right. And if you could tell, if you have had this conversation, I'm sure that your decision to pursue your computer science degree comes from the fact that you saw a gap between finance and tech. So what was their purpose that you might have discussed, which is like really interesting to know, that led them to take this decision that okay, I want to go pursue a computer science degree, like the linguistics guy or the doctor or any other person in that case.
So, I think most people again wanted to experience tech with their current field. That's the standard thing.
Mm,
Like the doctor wanted to see how tech can be used to better develop healthcare devices, like watches that track your BP, that warn you about a coming heart attack or something. Um, then most other people, like there are a number of people from investment banking also,
mm,
they probably were doing deals in the tech sector, and they realized that if they knew the tech sector better, they could be better investors. There were people who were probably in sales earlier, they was doing sales of tech products, and they realized that if they knew the product well, or if they could like develop the product rather than just sell the product, they would be of much more value to the company. So I think somewhere each one has their own story, which is very interesting in detail, but if I had to summarize it, it was most people's realization that tech is very crucial, and having a tech skill set alongside what they have done at their bachelor's will be a really good skill set out there in the market.
mm. Makes sense. Okay. And how is your course structured? I know, I am aware that you have already said that it is a 2 years masters, 4 semesters. But how is it structured in terms of modules or optional modules that a person has to study, etc.?
Sure. So the good thing is that you have a lot of flexibility in your second year. First year, I said I take basic courses, which is prerequisite, I would say, so that you can take master's level courses in future. And the master's level courses, it's totally up to you what you want to take. For example, if a person wants to go specifically into a data science track, now data science is a kind of mix of computer science, statistics, and business understanding, right? So a person who wants to do data science can take courses, say, on machine learning, on artificial intelligence, on data visualization and analytics, that side of things. They can also take courses in business from Wharton School, which is the business school of the University of Pennsylvania and a very famous business school worldwide. If someone wants to stick just to core computer science, like software engineering roles where they write code, push code to deployment, run code, test code, etc., not so much considered with the business side of things but more considered with getting a perfect program, they can take those specific courses. There are some people who are interested in doing game development, they
Mm,
can take more of like graphics courses, or courses that help them to become better game developers. I don't have much understanding of that. So the good thing is you can like absolutely choose what you want to do, basis the electives, basis what you think is a good fit for your skill set, your past background, and even your liking.
mm. Um, this question is from me from me. Do you have any lawyers studying this course with you right now, or in the
uh,
previous batches or alumni?
I think there was a person, because I remember there was this person who was doing like a JD and this course, and that person aimed to be a lawyer for like tech intellectual property.
Okay.
specifically in that niche.
Specifically that.
Yes. But they were many years back. I don't even recollect their name, unfortunately.
Okay.
But there was such a person. There must be some such people now as well. But I just like don't know about them.
Mm. Right. So, Priya, now, what other challenges that you faced while starting out the course, or even while studying right now that you are, studying for the course?
Okay, so I think the number one challenge that I faced was the mindset. As a chartered accountant, as a business person, finance person, we are very used to thinking in terms of Pareto. Like, look at 70% of the things, forget the rest
Mm.
30% because it's trivial. You can't do that as an engineer. Even if there's one line of code that is buggy, your entire
Mm.
program is going to crash. And it was sometimes very irritating for me, to try to perfect things because we are not taught to do perfection as a business person. We are taught to be get
Efficient.
things ready that get you ready to go to the market and earn revenue.
Mm.
So that mindset change I had to implement very consciously in myself. That's one thing. The second thing was
Just
the
before we move to another challenge, can you give an example of this? Because I did not understand it completely.
okay, sure. So suppose you have a code, okay, which is 100 lines long, and there is
This part
one
I
bug in it.
understood. I understood this part. Okay, but this part
Hmm,
where you mentioned that when you're talking about the business part, right? And
hmm.
that part I did not understand
Okay.
clearly.
So I mean to say that when you're a chartered accountant or a business finance or a finance person, you
Mm.
will try to do things at the level of materiality, as we say. If something is clearly very trivial, like it has a small value, for example,
Mm.
you never audit something that is of 500 rupees because it's
Correct.
clearly below materiality level.
Uh,
uh, so we would look and focus at things that give us the maximum revenue or give us the maximum value, I would say. And after a certain point, if we think that this product is enough to go to the market, um, and to earn us sufficient revenue, we would actually deploy a product. A business person will deploy a product and then start making like
mm.
improvements or trying to perfect it. But when I had to do code, I had to perfect it in the first go before submitting it, because otherwise I lose points. Even if there is a small bug and it's not functioning, I may think it's a small bug, but it's not a small bug. So I had
Mm.
to unlearn that mindset that of looking at things
Materiality
from
versus absolute. Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I had to do that.
Got it. Got it. And now you can tell your other challenges.
And the second challenge I would say was, in India, we don't have the system of a lot of assignments, a lot of continuous evaluation. You just have final exams and maybe a project, and that's it. But here, it's a lot of projects, a lot of assignments continuously, which make up a big part of the grade. And in the process, of course, you're going to get stuck. And if you're new to the field, you're going to get stuck even more. And that time, you need to go and ask for help at the right time before the deadline approaches and it's too late. So initially I did not do that fast enough. Like, I was very late in asking for help because I thought, let me try more, let me solve this, it will happen eventually. But that did not happen sometimes. um, it caused me a lot of panic and a lot of stress before I could actually go get help and fix things. And the thing here is that people are very happy to help if you ask a query or a question. The professors, the teaching assistants with the professors, they're very happy to help. So I think I had to tell myself that those opportunities are for me. I have to go and utilize them, if I want to manage my time wisely.
So, Priya, I think you have told us the challenges as well that you have faced, but I'm sure that since it is academics, there has to be some overlap between what we have studied. There has to be some overlap between your Bachelor's of Commerce and Chartered Accountancy degree and this course that you are studying. So, is there any commonalities which you faced, like, oh, just because you were a chartered accountant, you had an advantage when compared to your peers, and you were the one who was taking the lead in that module or in that class, anything like that?
So I think in my math class, I had a good advantage because a lot of that math was done for us in 11th and 12th grade. Like you have things like logic, propositional logic, you have a lot of statistics which I had done. So that, because of taking commerce with maths, I think I had that advantage. Second
Mm,
advantage was, I think, chartered accountancy teaches you a lot of discipline. um, that's to manage your time, your articleship, your college, your extracurriculars, all of that. So I think I was very okay with managing different courses or different assignments come all together. Of course, I did mention earlier that I did not take help in time, and sometimes it got really bad. But
mm,
overall, I would say I knew how to manage, how to budget for time. That okay, this task I can give it so much of time and it can be done. I was very fortunate also that I had 4 years of work experience, including my articleship, which made
mm,
it very easy for me to talk to people, interact with people, and also help me get a part-time research position in artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. So those experiences from CA don't never they won't go waste. They, I think, help me become a mature professional with
mm,
good time management and people management skills, which is very relevant to what I'm doing now.
mm. Okay, so as such, there wasn't a significant contribution in terms of academics, but in terms of the person that you had
Yes.
become, that was a major contribution.
Yeah, of course.
Hmm. Okay. And what is the scope of this course after you have graduated? Like where, in what fields can you work, or what lies in the future for someone who has completed this course from a different background?
So there are two types of people who would graduate from this course. One type of person is who completely changes their career path. That maybe they
Okay.
came in with X as their undergraduate, and now they're going to work as a software engineer, as if they were always a uh, a computer engineer. And the second type of people who blend their previous background with their computer science skills. And maybe I know of a person who had done many years back had done linguistics. She did computer science at UPenn, and she works for the keyboard of Google, because that's like very much a blend of linguistics and computer science. So there have been people who have gone to maybe do things like product management, which is people from the business side usually who have done like business finance at undergrad, and they go to do product management, which is, essentially seeing what are the products the market requires, how can we develop existing products of a company, what products do we need to scrap. It's like uh, that sort of space. So many people do that, and most people, I would say, would do software engineering, which is like coding, clear coding,
Hmm, hardcore
developing
coding.
applications, pushing, yeah, testing
Hmm,
and such. So yeah, these are mainly the three things people do. And very
hmm,
few people, I would say maybe one or two people whom I know, go on to pursue PhDs in computer science, and they may then eventually maybe come back to industry, or some of them may go and become professors themselves later.
professors. Hmm. And what is it that you intend to do after you have graduated?
So I am more focused on the data science part, because data science, as I said, is a mix of computer science, business, and finance, and statistics. So I like statistics. I am planning on like learning it a lot more better here. Business was already my thing, and computer science I'm learning, and it's a very interesting field. So that's what I broadly aim to go into.
Mm-hmm. So Priya, I'm sure being a non-engineer, you enter your class there on your first day, and you see that the professors are throwing certain jargons which are not known to us because we don't come from engineering background. So what were those jargons, and how did you learn to put up with it with time?
Like, I don't remember any specific tech related jargons right now, but a thing is that they use a lot of short forms. Like, any place has their own set of short forms. So I did initially struggle sometime for what short forms the professor is using. Like, what is the professor even talking about? I would feel like.
Mm.
But then it was easy to go just to raise your hand and ask, what are you talking about? And they would be happy to clarify. And also, maybe Google it up while you're in class quickly. I faced weird jargons because of the general way people speak here. Because the way people speak in a different country happens to be quite different. For example, even though we speak English, I spoke English a lot in India, and English is spoken in America too. There are a lot of differences. For example, when I went to one of the office hours is where like a professor sits and you can go and ask them queries about the syllabus, or just like take guidance, mentorship, anything. Um, I went to the professor and I asked the professor, I have doubts. Uh, and the professor was taken aback. Like, what
Mm.
happened? Are you fine? So I'm like, yes, professor, I have doubts. So he's like, what's wrong with you? What are the doubts about? Are they doubts about life? I'm like, no, they're doubts about like this particular chapter, this particular topic. So he's like, oh, you have queries. So I'm like, yeah, doubts. And then realize that doubts here is colloquially used to, mean like when
Like
you are actually
life
questioning
related
the,
doubts.
yeah, life related doubts, or when you're actually questioning something, that is this legit. For
Mm.
example, the professor thought that I was questioning whether his notes and his slides were legit. It was not the case. I just had questions about it. So such kind of differences, they pop up every now and then, and I think the best way to learn them is to actually going through like a situation like this, where they too learn that these words mean
Mhm.
different things in different countries, and we too learn how we should control or use our language better. So yeah, this is
Right.
one notable example.
I think it puts us in a very weird situation as well, even if this incident, right, that you talked about. I do understand it. And the thing is that since we are not native speakers, although we have done our education in English thoroughly, uh, there are some words that we use does not resemble exactly what we intend to say, like this one, right? Or
Yeah.
if somebody else would have asked you, I have a query, you would easily understand, okay, this guy has a question. But when it came to speaking yourself, we say that "Acha, I have a doubt." So there's definitely this difference I saw in my university as well. And when I am going to ask something, I use the standard, English, Indian version of the English. Like, if I would be in your position, I would have used the same question. कि, "अच्छा, I have a doubt करके," or I have a question. But when they say, we do understand it. So I don't know about how you guys deal with it, but I mean the people who go to USA. But one major suggestion uh, that I had gotten before applying to university, or going to the university, was that you really need to catch up with the lingos by watching series or TV shows, whichever is available on Netflix, particularly which are based on those countries. So I think that is helpful. So how would you deal with that? Like, were you suggested any shows or movies that you would have to watch to uh, catch up with the language?
So I'm not a big show or movie fan, unfortunately. And the most that I learned about how language is different in different countries was through watching a lot of like YouTube content about from these people, like TEDx talks, or
Mm.
I used to follow some doctors from America, or some professors from America. I've learned from their YouTube. There I picked up like these subtle differences, and I think that is good enough for you to make an entry here, because at the end of the day, it's not like huge differences, they're just small differences, and it's a good memory if you make such mistakes. I think, in my personal opinion, You can watch like standard American shows, maybe Suits. I've watched a lot of Big Bang Theory, Friends, etc. But then you don't want to take that impression of life there with you, that go with that baggage, because that's what a lot of people do, and the reality may be very different. So take watch the shows, but I would say take it with a pinch of salt. If you experience a new country
Mm.
or a new life firsthand without any baggage.
Right. Priya, I think we have had a great conversation, and I've thoroughly gotten to know how this course helps you and helps anyone who wants to, take their first step towards computer science. Thank you for your time, and thank you for doing this with us.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.